Cool. Welcome everybody to iConversations. We're going to get started here in just a minute. But as we do, we welcome people in. I just want to say thanks to our speakers that are joining us. We have Peter Forbes, we have Krish Gajera, and allegedly we have Lee Martinuzzi popping in a minute. So welcome to all of you guys.
Thank you.
Very good, very good. What we'll do is we'll just get started with our introductions. And I know for those of you that have been on iConversation several times that this seems to be repetitive. You'll have people don't want to know all about that, but we have lots of new people joining all the time. And so we just want to come back and pick up your story. So Krish, we'll start with you, mate. Just tell us how long you've been in real estate and where you do real estate, and maybe kind of how many sales you're doing.
I have been in real estate for last 3 years, and with EXP, I've been with EXP almost 2.5 years now. And I've been working in northern Adelaide, near Parafield Gardens, Salisbury area, and I'm doing roughly around 40 to 50 sales a year.
That's going fast. That's going fast. I realized we started just a bit early, so apologies to those of you that are just coming in. I got excited. I just hit the record button and off we went. So, but anyway, welcome to those of you that are just coming in. Sorry for jumping the gun and going a bit early. Peter Forbes, tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, hi guys. Yeah, Peter Forbes. I've been in real estate in Dalby, Queensland since 2008. Started in EXP. I'm not sure. Would it be nearly 4 years now? Yeah.
You had a memory when you started, mate, but you worked so hard that you just lost it now.
So look, I've mainly focused on sales, but I've actually got involved with 3 real estate offices in my area: Blackbutt, Toowoomba, and Dalby, my hometown. So I have a guy that handles all that for property management for me. So I do a bit of everything, but yeah, my primary focus is sales.
Yeah, cool. And just on average, how many sales a year do you reckon you're doing?
I do between 50 and 60 sales a year.
Yeah. I'm just going to put a couple of people on mute, so that's good. So guys, I just want to get your opinion on what it takes to be a successful agent in 2024. I'll get your initial thoughts. I do have some specific questions that I want to ask you, but just get your initial thoughts.
I think if you would like to be successful in 2024, you have to focus on prospecting. Prospecting for real estate agent is must. And it's like an everyday task, and every agent should concentrate on prospecting first. If you get listing, everything works out automatically.
Yeah. Okay. So the prospecting is a massive component to where you see it. Yep. Pete, what about you?
So yeah, I'm probably I probably aren't as diligent as someone like Krish with prospecting, but I've been around a long time, so it's probably a little bit easier for me. If I was starting out now, I'd probably be exactly like Krish and being full on into prospecting. I'm certainly not these days. I'm more of a take it or leave it type agent right now. I pick and choose what I want to do.
Yeah.
So that's sort of...
You're at a different stage in your career, though.
Yeah, different stages. That's all it is. Look, I think in 2024, for me, what it takes to be successful is moving with the times and changing how you do things, and not just getting stuck in the same old rut of doing things. Like every day I come up with something new that I use. So that's what I think.
So Pete, do you do a bit of time in research, or how do you find these new ways?
Just looking around and seeing what works for people. I mean, I come up with ideas myself. I mean, I've started I've started just doing a basic walkthrough video that I don't actually put it on my ads anymore, but I do this walkthrough video. So when someone inquires, straight away I send them a video, a YouTube link of the walkthrough. Here's the house. If this takes your fancy, let me know and I can get you through for a personal inspection.
That's exactly what I do. Every
Hmm.
single house I've sold in the last 2 years, I do that. It's such a great tool because
Yeah.
people either get excited by what you've shown them or they go, oh, yeah, it's not for us.
Yeah, well, I do a lot of rental properties. I've got properties for sale that have tenants in them, and it's my way of talking to the tenant initially and saying, look, can you let me do this video? And it might save the hassle of me coming into your house with randoms every other day. And they all agree. So I started with that, and I thought, why don't I just do it on every single property?
Yeah.
And it seems to be taken very well by
Yeah.
buyers. Yeah.
I totally agree with that. I mean, it's working for me. Like, I know there's a lot of different ways you can go about doing it, but and it has streamlined so much of my time when it comes to that scenario, because you either end up with someone's like, yep, that's for me. I definitely want to come and have a look for it or look at
Yeah.
it. Or they're like, thank you so much for sending that through. It doesn't seem to be what we're looking for. And
Yeah.
in the old days, that was no problems. Let me get the tenant organized. Let me get, let's get everything organized.
I think video is very important for interstate people as well. When they are looking at property, if they have just the photos, they can't make up their mind, they can't take decisions. If you have a video, it's more important.
Yeah.
To take
And
decisions.
I try not to be negative in the video, but I will show if the gutters are all cactus, I'll show that they're cactus.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing, it's like, you just, so I'm loving hearing that. That's so good. It's so good. So I want to come back and just ask you a couple of questions just to see where you're at. I'm not sure if Lee's going to be able to pop in and join us or not. So we'll just go with what we've got. But I wanted to find some similarities and some differences of the way that you guys actually do business, so that our agents can grab some takeaways. And, that old saying, success leaves clues. You guys are selling 40, 50, 60, 70 properties a year. And you will have things that you're doing that are very similar, and you'll have things that you're doing that are very different. But can I just ask you from the start, do you guys have written goals?
I don't have any written goals, but I try to target capping first in EXP, like within like 5 months.
Yeah.
And then I try to target Icon. That's my first and second goal. And then I try to target the awards in my area, like Rate My Agents Award. That's what I do, and it's automatically follows everything.
Yeah. So you do have some over umbrella goals. What about you, Pete?
I don't really have written goals. I have goals per property, I suppose, but I'm more of a list and do man. So I have lists of things that I have to get done. In
and
relation,
you just know if you do the work, you'll hit your goals.
Yeah.
So,
I just go down my lists and work through things. But goals as into, how many properties I'm going to list and how many I'm going to sell. I don't do any of that.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you say that, because we go to some training and it's like, without written goals, you'll never achieve anything, and and then you get somebody else. I don't know. I just list and sell houses. But on that, can I then flip the question slightly to ask you: do you have personal KPIs around? So thinking about Chris said he's right into his prospecting and stuff. Chris, do you have KPIs, meaning key performance indicators or numbers that you have to hit each week, each month, each day?
I don't have like personal KPIs, but I do have a list of things to do every day. So I put it in my calendar. This is today. I need to do this stuff, this stuff, this stuff. Like some of them is just buyer inquiry, visit the property, or prospecting, and talk to my prospective clients and meeting with them, like that sort of things. but I don't have like separate personal KPI that I have to manage. I have to get this many appraisals, this many listings. It just automatically come up.
Yeah. And what about you, Pete?
Yeah, I'm the same. I don't have anything like that, but yeah, I am quite thorough with lists of things I've got to get done, and that goes to, you know, I use Reader, and I use a bunch of different things so that I'm pulling appraisals. So there's lists for that prospecting that I do that I've got to get done. I've got to punch this out, follow up calls, all that, and then I've got a list for each task that I've got to do in relation to listings and under contract properties. So I'm very list oriented.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's not a piece of paper list. I don't even own a pen. Everything's done online. I use Trello for all that.
Okay. And so do you have then structured to-do lists that you carry over from one property to the next, or one process to the next?
Yeah, I love Trello for that. It's brilliant. You just move it into the column that it's in association with. So, you know, a prospect, I've got a property, I move it into the just listed. A new list comes onto that property because it's just listed. Then I've got to do a bunch of things. Then it goes into the, you know, on the market file. Once I've got under contract, I've got a new list, and so on until it's settled and I archive the property.
How did you come up with what you include in those lists?
Just from doing it for a long time, you know what, and it's changing all the time. Like there's things I've got to add to it because things change.
I do my YouTube videos now, so that goes on.
Yeah. So I add that on there, YouTube video or whatever, and then things come out. But Trello is a very useful tool. I years ago, I thought outsourcing was going to be a great thing for me, probably 5 or 6 years ago, and that's how I learned about Trello.
How do you spell it? Trello?
Trello.
Okay.
Yeah, Trello. Yeah,
Okay.
It's basically a list. It's a checklist platform. That's what it is. Yeah.
It was created originally for computer programmers to track where they were in developing new computer software.
Yeah.
Allegedly, that's what I heard.
Right. Well, I saw these outsourcers using it, and I didn't really understand it. And then the outsourcing, I tried. It didn't work for me. I think I'm just too much of a lone ranger for that to work. But then I looked at that system and I thought, I can use that myself. And at times I have had assistants. I don't anymore, but at times, and when I had an assistant, you shuffle them in and they've got that Trello board and it gives them direction on what they've got to do. Yeah.
And what do you do for outbound prospecting these days, Pete, or marketing?
Yeah, so it's mainly just through my database. So I use ActivePipe and Reader for text messaging. So they go out 3 days a week, text messages. And ActivePipe, I'm as lazy as sin with that. It's set up and it's doing stuff all the time in the background. So I get stuff off that. I actually subscribe now to checkmyhouseprice.com. So it pulls in new leads, which I add to the database. And yeah, it's mainly everything I'm doing is revolving around my database of people. And it's an ongoing thing, but you know, anyone who makes an inquiry, they're in my database and I'm doing something with them at some stage. Text message, email. Yeah.
How many appraisals a year do you think you do, Pete?
Wouldn't have a clue. A lot of mine now are more like a price check rather than actual, you know, if I can avoid actually going to the house, I will. I'll just give an estimate on price. I'm generally, when I turn up at a house, I generally know I've got the job.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, I'm just going there to check it out and, you know, talk to the person about, you know, sales methods more than anything.
Okay.
But yeah, as I do a lot of, it's probably, you probably shouldn't call it an appraisal. It's more like a price estimate.
Yeah.
Probably 5 or 6 of those a week.
Yeah. So you're doing 20 to 25 a month?
Easy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of them I'll probably never speak to.
Yeah.
But they're on my system and yeah, then once they're in that system, they'll get a text message, they'll get something off me over the next month, 6 months, year. Yeah.
Yeah, just touch points. Krish, I want to bring you in here because I know you do it slightly differently, but what are you doing for your outbound marketing prospecting at the moment?
At the moment, I got someone calling on behalf of me, like a telemarketing in Vietnam. So they're calling people, at least 100 people every day. And I got one or two prospect like appraisals every day.
And are those like Kate? Are those more of a price check kind of a thing?
Maybe you can say like 10% of them, they are hot sellers, but not like 90% they're price check, but they might be a future seller. So you just keep in touch with them. And then so I got that one. I got Active Pipe. I got Realtor for appraisal. So digital appraisal. I got Realtor, and I use a lot of social media. So I use property to get more listings. So whenever I get a property, I get $200 to $300 budget for social media from the owner. So I use that to get my seller as well. So we can use the Facebook lead, and I get a lot of leads from Facebook as well. Plus property inspections, plus all my prospecting that I have, like a lot of follow-ups that they haven't been into market. So I got lots of different things I can use.
Yeah. Okay. So you've got, sounds like both of you have various ways that you're pulling leads into a funnel or into a CRM. Let me go back and ask Pete. Pete, you're very CRM oriented.
Yes. Yeah. So and I think this is why I've never really been successful with outsourcing and assistance and things. I'm probably a bit anal about that. That's probably one thing I'm quite anal about. So anyone who makes an inquiry, I'm just collecting information, going through each day. I go through Reader, that it basically gives me a list each day, and I go through that one and figure out where people live and what they're doing. Because some people on your database don't have an address, and we're all about addresses as real estate agents. So I look at that and try and piece together where they are. I actually know people not by their names. I often know them by where they live, which is not ideal when you're meeting them in an open house. You go, oh yeah, you're in Edward Street down beside this street there, and they'll go, well, you know where I live. I said, yeah, but I'm sorry, I don't know your name at all.
You've got the pink kitchen and the
Yeah.
whatever. I love it. I love it. Keep it real. So with your database, so just to be specific, what do you find as a priority? Name, address, phone, email? What's most important for you?
Well, I used to say email, but I think the mobile number is more important now. People are more likely to respond to a text message than an email these days, I think. So I think the mobile number is the most important thing. I mean, everyone is just on these all day and every day now. So that I think the mobile number is where it's at.
Okay.
But you shouldn't neglect the email either, because it has its moments, that thing. Yeah.
But those would be your key pieces: name, phone number, email address, physical address.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't try to get people's address the first time I meet them, but yeah, generally I put potential buyers come into your database first, and over time you find out, even if they don't buy a house through you, they're on your system. So I find a way to find out what they've bought, and they don't always tell you what they've bought when you follow up with them, but over time I generally get that information put in my database so I know where they live and start marketing around that.
So I want to ask both of you, would you say that you work a farm area? I know, Pete, you're in a very smaller regional area, but I'll ask, so that in itself might just be a farm area. particularly because you've been in it so long. But Chris, do you work at a particular farm area? Or
Yes. Yep. So I work around 5107 postcode. That's Parafield Garden, Salisbury area, Paralawi, Ingle Farm. So probably around 15 to 20 kilometer radius of from my house.
Yep. But do you work a specific? Because so in a lot of ways, people will tell new agents that are coming through are often encouraged to have a farm area. So it's 1,000 houses. It's 1,500 houses.
Oh yeah. So in my farm area where I'm living, it's living is Parafield Garden, and I think I got about 5,000 houses here. So a lot of stock, like probably around 200 houses coming up for sale every year
Yeah,
in this
wow. Yeah.
200 at least.
Cool. I want to go through then, and I want to just check you on what you're using. I'll come back to the technology side, but what are you using that's analog? Do either of you still do DL flyers?
Yes, I do DL flyers maybe once in a couple of months. And I do like fridge magnet as well. Just recently I did the fridge magnet for all of the houses with the emergency contact number. So I put emergency contact number, your photo, your informations, and just a little couple of lines that, just call us to get maximum value of your house and stuff like that.
Yeah, some kind
So
of
it's
call
like
for action.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
very handy actually. So people keep it in the fridge and they all the time, like they look at it,
Yeah, yeah. I've seen that in case of emergency stuff. I've also seen if you got young families in the area, times table charts. Kids are trying to learn the times tables and all that kind of stuff. Pete, what about you? Do you use any kind of DL cards in your world?
No, I don't do anything like that. I don't do any printing anymore. I don't even have a business card anymore. It's all just online. And people say to me, "Oh, can I have your business card?" And I'm like, "No, I don't do business cards. You're just going to throw it out." And they start laughing and they say, "Yeah, I probably will throw it out."
Yeah.
So I'm not knocking at that. I think that's probably what you should be doing.
Yeah.
And it's certainly, I have done that stuff in the past, but yeah, I just don't do it anymore.
Yeah. And so you've got such a big database at the moment. How many people are in your database?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Don't know.
Yeah, I love it.
So,
Pete's like, I just keep putting them in. I just keep putting them in.
I just keep putting in, and the people unsubscribe too. People take themselves out of it. They unsubscribe from your texting. But yeah, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, you just keep filling the bucket.
Yeah.
I know. I think that's a really positive attitude about the unsubscribes. I remember early days when people were doing all the newsletters and stuff like that, which I think you're doing a lot of. People would unsubscribe, and then managers would want to know how come people unsubscribe because they didn't want it. It's pretty easy scenario. So let me ask you this: 2024, what's an average week look like for you guys as agents? Chris, what about you? Just talk us through like a Sunday to Saturday.
Yeah, average week. During the weekdays, I got a lot of buyer follow-up. Like they came to the inspections, a lot of buyers follow. Plus, if I need to do a contract, it's a contract, and dealing with the vendors and stuff like that. Plus prospectings going on, as well as like photographies and stuff like that. So every week I'm busy with 2 or 3 properties to deal with. And old stock need to clear. New stock is coming.
Yep, and you're prospecting and all of that. Do you? Because I know you use Active Pipe. Do you do that yourself, or do you have somebody do that for you, or how does that work?
Just myself. I have 4 or 5 email automatic setup is going on. I'm not spending much time, but it's every time when I list the property, it goes. All my clients get an email with just listed. When I sell the property, they just got an email just sold. Plus every week they get email of weekly listing. Plus whenever they came to the inspection, they get an email of buyer's feedback. Plus 2 emails every month for appraisal, looking for an appraisal. So a couple of emails every month. So they get 5 or 6 emails every month from my side.
Yeah, good. You're definitely staying top of mind with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pete, what about you? What's a week look like for you?
Well, I actually don't know what I do. Look, my whole business is really run through my email. So there's inquiries coming in, there's things happening, and if that inbox, because I archive and I try and keep my inbox empty. If it's empty, I've done my job, I've sorted it out, and I can't sleep at night if it's got 50 things in it. So I'm just forever looking at that email and working around things that are coming through that. I'm finding at the moment I don't have to talk to sellers, my current sellers, all that much, because I'm talking to them all the time because there's things happening on their properties.
Yes.
It's not like where we were at 5 to 10 years ago, where you'd have to be talking to your seller, hey dude, I've got nothing, I can't sell your house, what are we going to do? Are we dropping the price? There's none of that, and hasn't been for some time. So I'm finding once I've got them on there, I'm talking to them every day anyway. Yeah, so most of my time is sorting through buyers and sorting through my database and keeping my inbox empty. And I'm not going to tell you I know really what I did yesterday even, but I was busy.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And then for both of you, I want to ask you this. When it comes to separating work from family or work from private time, how do you do that?
Okay. Yeah. So work from private time, I normally do Sunday for free until and unless I have to do auction. If the auction is not available on Saturday, I have to do Sunday. So I do one auction on Sunday, or maybe just one inspection if I have to do. Like if it is a new property, first week I do Sunday inspection, but after that I don't do Sunday. Just do one weekdays and one weekend. So I avoid Sunday. So Sunday is for family, and normally after 7 o'clock I try to spend time with family. Before that I'm busy with the work.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. What about you, Pete?
Oh, I think real estate's the greatest job for juggling families, because yeah, my kids they just have to go wherever I have to go sometimes, much to their disgust. But I have a van, and I'll pick up the girls from school, I'll drop them off. They just work around what I'm doing. And I'm diligent with my diary too. Like if they've got things on that I've got to be at or whatever, well, I just can't book things in at those times.
And it doesn't seem to hurt your business.
It doesn't. Once you decide that that's what you're doing, it doesn't hurt your business.
Yeah, I made that decision years ago because I used to run around like everything.
Yeah.
Miss everything. And then you find out that people didn't show up to the appointment, they didn't do this, whatever. You've missed the school sports carnival or the, whatever. And that stuff's not coming back. That time is gone.
No, and yeah, you can do it. I think it's all, you've got to get out of your own way and say no to things.
Yeah,
and I find most buyers will work around your schedule, not you working around theirs. Like I've seen it so many times. And I've seen it with other salespeople. I've seen them go, oh, Sunday was the only day that would suit him. And I'm like, what the hell? Just say no.
He's buying a $400,000 or $600,000 property. You can't see it between 12:15 and 12:20. He's not buying it.
Yeah.
He's probably not legit.
No, that's right. And I've seen that happen. Chris said he doesn't work Sundays. I don't work Sundays. I like to play golf sometimes too, and the golf championships are on the next 2 weekends, so I'm not working these 2 weekends, or I'm working around my golf.
Yeah. Pete, we've spoken, you and I have spoken personally about, you've got this van and people think you're everywhere. Tell us about how that works in your.
Yeah, greatest thing that's ever happened to real estate is a van. If you get a van, you put your corporate colours or whatever all over it. And I just drive around, and like Dad said, I'm mainly driving kids around, and people just go, man, you're everywhere, you're all over the place. And it's just a perception. They just keep seeing that van, and they think you're just busy going
Yeah.
everywhere.
Well, you are busy. You've got 2 kids. You're trying to get from here to there.
Yeah, so the van is very good and so useful. Like you can, like I use it for signage. To transport my signs around because I install all my own signs. And it's great for kids because there's just so much room. And like my kids' friends call it the fun bus. Oh, are we going in the fun bus to such and such? And they all can all load in. Like I can take 6 of them.
Yeah.
Somewhere because I'm usually dropping here, there, and everywhere. Between things. Yeah.
So you've got the branded bus. The van is rocking up to child A's house, then it goes to child B's house, C, D, E. So the parents are all getting a marketing message at every opportunity. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So what I like about interviewing you two is that you are just getting on with it. I haven't once, like there's so many agents that will be talking about, whatever, or next month I'm gonna start. You guys are just doing the work. If I can glean from what you've said, your priority is your database and getting stuff into the database and then marketing to the database. Pete, how often do you send? You're using ActivePipe as well, are you?
Yeah.
Yeah. How often are you using that? I mean, sending stuff out.
Well, it was just set up for me when I started. I think I started doing that. I started using ActivePipe when I come over to EXP, but they set it up at that stage, and I've literally done nothing with it since. We had a meeting with them, probably 6 months ago, and just tinkered with what was happening. So everything's auto sent there.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that that's how you should do it, but that's how I'm doing it. It's the lazy man's way of doing it. It just sends out stuff to people.
We don't say lazy man anymore, Pete. We say streamline.
Streamline. Yeah.
Rob,
Yes.
I would like to say something in ActivePipe. Let's say if I am struggling to sell any of the property and if I need to move on to that, I'll send them a quick email to all my database. I got 7,000 in my database.
Yeah.
So I send them an email reminder, like a inspection reminder. So it goes to all of 7,000 database, and you might get few people rock up.
Yeah.
And, sell the property. So I have couple of times it happens to me. It's helped me sell the property as well.
Yeah, I like that you are, and it's a tool that you're able to go back to your clients and say, well, look, this is we have done a blast to get more people interested in your property. We've sent it to 7,000 people, and we got 2. Whatever it was yeah. Pete, you're using I want to make this list because there was some comments before about just trying to see what software. For those of you on live or watching the replay, you'll have to work and play with some of these things and really explore what EXP offers as well, but also look at what you can do, what these guys are using. So Pete, you're using ActivePipe, you're using Trello. What else are you using?
Rita.
Rita, yeah.
Yeah.
You're using Check My House Price.
Check My House Price, I think it's called. Yeah, it's quite good. If you're looking to build up and get some names and addresses and that.
Yeah.
That's basically people looking for a price estimate on their house. I think my postcode was like $320 or something a month.
Yeah.
And it's basically just a lead generation. Yeah. So if you're starting out, if starting from scratch, it's giving you something to play around with.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Also, if you do want to just get in and make some calls, if you're new, starting out, whatnot, in a lot of states, maybe not every state, because I know there's some regulations around it, you can get a lot of phone numbers out of CoreLogic or RP Data, however you know it. And that's included in your subscriptions with EXP. And then any other software that you're using?
I'm using ID for me.
Yeah, you're using ID for me, yeah. And what's the value in that for you?
It's cost me $100 a month.
Yeah, but what do you get
I'm
out
not-
of it?
Well, okay, look, if I see a house where there is no one living in there, or if I would like to get the detail of that person, maybe I'll check ID for me, or sometimes I couldn't find the details. Only that time I'm using that. But it's still useful. I'm not using much, but it's useful to get information about any ownership, house ownership, or if you just put a person's name or number, they will give you which properties they own.
Oh, yeah. No, that's cool. So you guys are really using your technology. You are working a somewhat designated area. You don't have goals, which I think is hilarious. But Chris does have a goal. I like the way that Chris has benchmarked his goals. So first goal, cap. Second goal, icon. Third goal, get the Rate My Agent awards or whatever awards are local. And then what he does is he does whatever it takes to hit those benchmarks.
So I use those award in my property listing as well. So whenever I put that photos, I put that award in between, in the middle somewhere. So when people is like checking the photos, they can see the award in the middle.
And congratulations, mate! I can see on your Zoom screen background that you in the top 10 agents for South Australia, mate. That's huge.
Amazing.
Yeah, very, very, very good. And anything else that you would, if you were coaching someone, that you would suggest to them to do to be a success in 2024 now that we have just under 10 months left?
I think for all the real estate agent, time management is the key. Make sure you are using your time for income producing activities. Like first thing is prospecting, and then any deal closing or whatever. Make sure you just prioritize the work, because like as a real estate agent, you come across a lot of different activities, and sometimes you spend a lot of time with unproductive activities. So make sure you spend your time with productive activities.
Yep. Okay. Pete, what about you?
If you're starting out now, I think look at your area and look at what your opposition are doing and do the absolute opposite of that.
Okay.
You want to stand out, and you should do the opposite of what they're doing.
Elaborate a little bit more on that. Give us some more insight.
Oh well, when I started out, no one was doing an open house in my area. They just weren't doing them. I don't know why, but they weren't. So I started doing open houses, and I was flagging up and signing up, and I was doing flyers around the house. So people were seeing that and going, oh, this he's doing all sorts of stuff around open houses. No one else is doing them. So people started to talk about that. That was just one of the things. But yeah, just do the opposite of what they're doing. You will stand out if you look different.
Yeah.
I wore Larry clothes when I started. I wore more out there clothing, plaid pants and, loud pink shirts and stuff like that. People were like, wow, he's dressing differently. He's looking different,
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedules to share with us some of the things that you're using to be successful in 2024. Guys, if you're watching the replay or you're live here on the video and you've got specific questions, you kind of think, hey, I jive with that person. These guys are just an open book. Just give them a buzz and feel free to call out to them. They haven't given me permission to do that, but I know them well enough to know that they're very into trying to help. And it's fun to watch the journeys. I remember when Chris first came to EXP, and he was training, he was doing all the training. Yep, okay, cool, I'm going to do this, and then he was doing the implementing. And then the next thing, Chris has become an icon. You know, like he's just smashed it. And Peter Forbes, I love it. He's just cool, calm, and collected, and just like, just leave me be. I'm just doing my 60 sales a year. You know, like I'm just getting on with it. So the big takeaway is that we can all implement what you guys are doing, and you don't have to be, you don't have to be setting the world on fire. You just do the work and get the result. So, guys, thanks so much for that, and thanks so much for sharing authentically with us what you actually do.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Talk to you later.
Bye.